welcome. I just wanted to take a few minutes today to give a few of my thoughts about what it means to be a poet or a creative person in any sense. And I have to stress that it's my opinions, my thoughts on this. So there's no book I've taken it out of. It's observation from my own experience and seeing fellow writers and reading. I like to think that poetry in particular is about being mindful, being someone who observes. So there are lots of moments, obviously, every day as time rushes by and we're all busy with places to go and people to see and things to do. We have a schedule. And some of the connections that could be made are missed, or we don't have time to see things because we've got to prioritise, and everybody has to. But I think an artist, a creative artist, and in particular a poet, is someone who manages to slow that moment down so that they can see what's really going on. And then maybe they then take their feelings about that moment, their response to whatever it is that they see in front of them or feel, and they capture it in words. And they don't necessarily use those words that they've captured it with at that point to make a poem. They take those words away. So when they're looking at the poem the next time, when they've taken the poem away and they're reading it again, and they think, that's what I thought, that's what I felt, but they're not actually feeling it at that moment. It's what is called emotion recollected in tranquility. So you've got this moment of tranquility where you've taken a snapshot, if you like, of what's happening. So for instance, thinking of a poem that I wrote called Annunciation, which is about the angel Gabriel coming to Mary, mother of Jesus, to tell her that she's going to have a baby, and about her response to that. Now that poem was inspired by watching a shaft of sunlight in autumn just hit a tree that had the most beautiful golden leaves, and it looked like a fire spreading from the sunshine down the tree. It was a moment as the sun came out from behind a cloud, and then the cloud has gone, and it felt like almost a divine fire hitting the tree, a moment of inspiration, and then normality came back as the clouds covered the sun again. So I wrote a poem about seeing the tree, and because I entitled it Annunciation, it gave it a lot of resonance with that biblical story and made you see, I hope, a divine intervention, if you believe in that, in the everyday. So I had that encounter with the tree and the moment, and I didn't know at that point that it was going to lead me in that direction. I knew I needed to write down what I'd seen and what I'd experienced and what I could remember and the feeling that it gave me, and take that away and craft it. So if you see what I mean, this is what I mean about mindfulness and paying attention and observation. And artists obviously often are seeing things slightly differently to how we all see things in our rush to get things done. We tend to see things in terms of their utility to us, how useful they are or not useful. So a tree shedding leaves might be an annoyance if you're trying to get somewhere and you don't want water spilling on you from the trees, or you don't want the leaves to get in the way or get on your coat. You fail to see the beauty in it, and you fail to see the connections because it's to do with your journey through that day, and there's something of the ego in there, whether it's useful to you or not. But when you can get rid of that ego and you're looking at the thing in itself for its own beauty, you see something more, and you can start to make connections between those things that you see and everything else in the world. And it's making those connections and hearing those resonances, seeing those resonances with other things. So tying up the ascension with a burst of sunlight on an autumn tree, that can give you an insight. And that insight is what feeds into creativity. And for me specifically, poetry. Although obviously it can be all art forms. And we all have it. We all have it if we allow ourselves time to slow down and see things and try and take our own ego out of the picture and see things as they are and the beauty of things. Not just beautiful because they're useful for us, but beautiful because they are themselves, very much themselves, and connected to everything else. And they can illustrate how you feel at that particular point. So a tree in autumn can symbolize melancholy. Conversely, it can symbolize hope because it's the tree letting go of the leaves, ready to hunker down for winter. And when winter comes, can spring be far behind? You've got spring coming along as well. So you're tapping into an ancient cyclical truth, which you can see in that autumn tree. So there's another thing you can take away from that tree. Lots of things. So I just wanted to share those few thoughts, my own thoughts, about poetry, creativity, mindfulness, observation. And if you want any hints at all about how to put that into practice, I would say have time to slow down, to see things as they are, and to write down how you feel at the time. Take those scraps of paper with you, a little notebook, and then look at them later. Some things you might think, what did I mean by that? That makes no sense. And others you say, did I write that? That's quite good. I like that. And then you follow that. It's like a trail of clues. You follow that trail of clues to whatever insight is in there. And it's worth digging for that. So I just thought I'd leave you with those little few thoughts on poetry and creativity. And thank you for being on the journey with me around all the poetic forms. It's been great fun. And hope to see you soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.